What I found really interesting is that you actually talk about bringing in the dessert as a part of the main meal.
It's a really simple shift where we serve dessert with the meal rather than hold it off to serve it after, that you have to finish your food and then eat the dessert. So
Right.
they don't have to earn the food, like you have to eat your broccoli, then you get the reward. Because that's, without even realizing it, that's making broccoli seem like the chore, like you have to do
Yeah.
this, it's not yummy, but you have to do this to get a reward, right? Because a lot of times a child will not finish their food because they're saving place for dessert.
That is so true. Hi, I'm Sneha Javeri, your fellow mommy friend and the host of Mumma Approved, a podcast where I ask all your questions to all the best people in their field. Did you know that only 1 in every 10 children actually meet their requirement of fruits and vegetables in their diet? About 30% of kids actually skip breakfast before going to school, and that's why that results in less concentration and low performance. And did you know that kids between the ages of 2 to 18 are supposed to have only 25 grams of added sugar, while our kids yet have 70 grams of sugar through hidden sources? There are so many such statistics that will blow your mind. And therefore, we need experts to decode all of this for us. Join me in welcoming today Karina Chattlani to decode all of this. Karina Chattlani is a vibrant voice in child nutrition. She brings balance and nutrition in a fun, contemporary way. Hi, thank you so much for joining me. I'm so grateful for this conversation, and I have so many interesting questions to ask you.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited for this conversation.
I just feel like there is so much buzz around nutrition, what to give kids, we shouldn't give kids. We are lucky as mothers to have people like you who are coaching us, who are giving us better ideas, making food more fun, more interactive, not like a chore. And that's why I feel like this conversation is so important today, where you can actually help us navigate this extremely important situation, but in a more fun, playful way.
I'm excited to help today and have this conversation.
So, what I found really interesting is that you actually talk about bringing in the dessert as a part of the main meal, and not keeping it as a treat for after the meal is over, which typically what all of us do is like, okay, if you finish this, only then are you allowed to have this, and that I think creates maybe a little bit more of a problem than we would all like to admit. So can you kind of elaborate as to what this concept is?
Okay, so it's a really simple shift where we serve dessert with the meal rather than hold it off to serve it after, that you have to finish your food and then eat the dessert. And this simple shift can have such a huge impact on our kids because we're taking dessert off the pedestal and making it neutral amongst all the other foods that we give them. So
Right.
they don't have to earn the food, like you have to eat your broccoli, then you get the reward. Because that's, without even realizing it, that's making broccoli seem like the chore, like you have to do
Yeah.
this, it's not yummy, but you have to do this to get a reward, right?
Yeah.
So when we serve a small portion, I'm not saying like give a full chocolate sundae with dinner, a small, like one small cookie, a piece of chocolate, a cookie, whatever you want, a small piece, scoop of ice cream, you put it, serve it with the meal without making any comments or saying, oh, you're so lucky, look, you have dessert on your plate tonight. You just serve the meal, and this takes the dessert off the pedestal, so it stops being a reward
Right.
for the child. It doesn't make it as special or exciting because it's just another item on their plate. It reduces the power struggle, like you're saying. You have to eat the broccoli, take two more bites, and then you get the dessert. That
Yeah.
power struggle automatically goes because they get to choose what you serve. from
Right.
what you serve and what they want to eat. And it supports self regulation because a lot of times a child will not finish their food because they're saving place for dessert,
Yeah.
or they'll eat till because mama says I need to eat three more bites. They might be stuffed, but they'll eat the three bites and then also eat the dessert on top. And they've eaten way past their fullness because they want that dessert. So you're
That is
not letting
so
them
true.
regulate their hunger.
That is so true, because I mean, I'm sure a lot of mothers listening to this are guilty of this, but I'm 100% guilty of this because I always, of course, we reserve desserts for the weekend, and then it's like, okay, but it's the weekend, but you still have to finish your soup, you still have to have your dahi, and then you can have this. So yeah, it is creating a lot of hype around that piece of chocolate or that piece of dessert. So she's like, "Oh my god, today's Friday. Oh my god, today's Friday. I get to eat this." And I'm just like, "Oh god, okay. Like, why are you so obsessed with this?" And actually, we are making them obsessed with this by giving this celebrity status to that chocolate or whatever. That is. So I found this so interesting. I said I have to have this conversation with you where you actually unpack what exactly this theory is, so we can start incorporating this when we are serving food to the kids. You
Mm.
know.
And you don't
Um,
have to serve it every meal. I'm not saying every time. It's as a parent, you decide how much and when you want to serve it.
yeah.
But when we serve it like this, it just makes it more neutral. And the first few times, which I also noticed when I started this, the child will gravitate towards the dessert because
Yeah.
it's so exciting. It's something, it's a novelty for them to
Yeah.
see it there. But then when it becomes something that they just get from time to time when you want to serve it, it just becomes neutral. I remember once, the first three times, my son would just grab the chocolate. By the fourth time, he picked up the cucumber first. And I was like, wow, this
Wow.
really does work.
Wow. Okay. But so when they go for the dessert first, the first few times, and for our kids, if they're slightly older, maybe it might be for a few more times than younger kids, where they would go for the dessert first. Uh, should you let them? Should
Yeah,
you let them
because
do the dessert first and then eat the broccoli and the cucumber and whatever else they have to eat?
because as parents, our job is to decide what we serve, when we serve it, and how we serve it. And then it's the child's responsibility to decide how much and what they eat from what you've served.
Okay. So
That's
that's
their
also self
responsibility.
regulation. Yeah. That's
Yeah, that's
also.
how we teach them self regulation. And this is called the division of responsibility.
Oh, okay. Okay. What do you mean by that?
So it's a feeding concept where we decide, as parents, our job is to decide what we serve our kids, when we serve it, and how we serve it. And the child's responsibility is to decide how much of what we serve they eat. That's their job. So once we
Wow.
serve the meal, it's up to them to decide. And that's how they learn self regulation.
So that actually, so the next question I actually had for you was this, that we, as the kids grow older, we are of course taking holidays with other kids. They're going for lunch and dinner with other kids, and every parent has a very different um, philosophy of food for their children, right? Like there are some parents who are okay with, pancakes and Nutella first thing in the morning, saying, "Oh, it's a holiday, it's okay." I might be okay with my child eating fries with lunch, which other parents might say, "No, I want my child to eat this pasta and that's about it. There's no going to be no fries, no ketchup, nothing, whatever." So when you're in this situation, the kids go nuts. They literally, all of them, because everybody's parents are saying completely conflicting things to them. And they're like, "Oh, but I want to eat the fries. Oh, but I want to eat the Nutella. Oh, I want to eat this." And then there's meltdown, there's fights, there's, a situation which is completely uncalled for. And that drives one to believe that, is it because the kids are young that this is happening? Is it because they're not being able to self regulate that, okay, it's fine. I'm not allowed to eat Nutella at breakfast, but I'll be allowed to eat it. I'll be allowed to eat a dessert after lunch. Like, what is going on, and how can we kind of circumvent these kind of situations where we don't need to give in to what we feel we want for our children, but at the same time, we don't become the villains of their lives, basically.
This is a great question. So I think the first thing we have to decide, we have to decide for ourselves what our values are and what we want for our kids.
Yeah.
Like if chocolate is allowed, like get on board with your partner so they're getting the same message from both parents. And that's number one. Number two, a phrase which I teach a lot of my coaching clients is to tell them, in our family, we don't eat chocolate at breakfast, but we can have it at after lunch, with lunch. Right now, these are your options. What can I help you get?
Okay.
So, so when we use this, we're stating our boundary as a family very clearly.
Right.
We're telling our kids what they are allowed, when they can have the food they want. And at the same time, we're not judging or criticizing another parent's choice or what another child is eating.
Yeah.
Because we don't want to put anyone
We don't want
else
to do
down for
that.
their
Yeah,
choices.
exactly. Exactly.
And will the child have a meltdown initially the first time? Maybe, because to them it is unfair. My friend is eating chocolate, why can't I?
Yeah.
It's not fair in their eyes. But when you use this sentence and stick to your boundaries with them, they pick up on it and they adjust to it.
Right.
And they learn, okay, I'm not allowed it now, but my mom will let me eat it at this time. So they're not restricted either.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's exactly a big challenge because you don't want them to feel deprived, especially on a holiday or an outing. You're just like, oh my God, like we're taking away from this joy of you chilling with your friends, eating with your friends, enjoying with your friends, and we're making it all about this thing that you can't eat, So that's something that I actually, I personally struggle with this because I'm just like, I don't want to be. I don't want to be the villain, but at the same time, I don't want to give in to something that I don't believe you should be doing in the first place. But this is a great line to use that we don't do this in our family. We don't eat this as a family for breakfast, so we'll do it later or something like that. That is actually really,
Yeah.
really great.
And you
Um,
let them know what they are allowed. Because this is the same with fizzy drinks also. For us, that's a big no.
yeah. So another thing that I found very interesting is you adding Cheetos to a box with, of course, there was veggie, there was a fruit, there was a protein, and then you added some Cheetos there. And of course, Cheetos is the ultimate blasphemy for anything healthy. And I found it extremely interesting. So I would definitely like you to unpack that and say what exactly the theory would be to put like a Cheetos in there. Is it to make them feel less deprived, or is it something that you feel is okay for the kids to eat once in a while?
So there are certain foods that I swore, to be honest, that I would never feed my child, Cheetos being one of them.
Yeah,
And for the longest time, I didn't bring it into my house,
yeah,
but he still got it. He went to school, his friend brought it, and there was this big obsession with Cheetos. I want Cheetos. And he was eating it from his friend.
yeah,
So now I had two choices as a mom. I can deprive him at home and build on this craving
yeah,
because he's not getting it because he's fully restricted at home.
yeah,
And then he'll eat it every time he's offered it out. Or I buy it and I serve it in a balanced way. So instead of serving a huge portion of Cheetos and letting him eat as much as he wants, I put it on a plate and added other stuff, like you said, the fruits, the vegetables, some chicken. So I made it part of a meal.
yeah.
And believe me, after that day, I've never brought Cheetos in the house again, and he's never asked for it because
Really?
he got it. I honestly, it's something I've never bought. It was that one time, and
Wow.
that obsession just went. And I'm not saying that'll happen every time. The obsession will just go. But with anything in life, when we're banned from it, we crave it more.
Yeah.
Like if you or someone told you you can't eat chocolate, I'm sure that's all you will think about.
So what should you do with this whole chocolate thing? Because I know I have a daughter who's obsessed with eating sweet, right? Like she has a incredible sweet tooth, and we can't seem to. I mean, it becomes deprivation, because it's like you can't eat this every day. Like you can eat this on the weekend, you can eat this once in a while. So will this one piece of chocolate in her entire dinner work for her to kind of neutralize this as a concept in her life?
Yeah, so if you just honestly, when it's restricted, like you're saying, when they have to wait a long time to get it, and it's something that you really, it's making it so exciting
Yeah,
that they crave it more. But I'm saying not even like a small portion, like one square of a chocolate, not even a full bar.
yeah,
And when it becomes regular and just another item on the plate, and they see it regularly, and it's just another food, the excitement starts to go away. So a good place to start is like putting three chocolate chips. Don't just keep three chocolate chips and let it be there.
yeah,
And slowly, when she's used to it, you can reduce how often you do it,
yeah.
but then it's not so special anymore.
Right, right.
So
Yeah.
I think
Okay.
if for all of us, whenever we restrict ourselves too much, that craving is there more.
Yeah. So, what about the whole protein? Which this is a very, very trending concept amongst even adults: protein, protein,
Yeah.
protein. And we're doing protein shakes, and we're doing pea protein, and, we're talking about sattu, and we're talking about, like, all these things. But how important is it to incorporate protein consciously into the diet of our kids?
So protein is one of the three macronutrients, so it's very important to include it into our kids' diets because it supports our kids' muscle growth, their immunity, and it helps keep them full in between meals when we add protein and healthy fats. But I think the protein obsession has become too much
Yeah.
because kids actually don't need that much protein. A 4 to 8 year old child would need about 19 grams of protein a day,
Yeah.
and 9 to 13-year-old would only need 34 grams of protein. So if they are a non-vegetarian, they're
Yeah.
easily getting this.
Yeah.
If you add a bit of non-veg in their meals, and even vegetarian kids, it's not hard to get it in if you're serving it a little bit in each meal and snack.
Right. So, what would,
So
like, for example, like 5 things that they can take to school which would incorporate protein and not empty calories, and
yeah.
you know what I
So
mean?
you could do, yeah. So you could a glass of milk. You could add milk in like make a shake with a milk, a
Dairy.
cheese sandwich, dairy. If you're doing dairy, because one glass of milk has 8 grams of protein, so you're already
Okay.
good there.
Okay.
You could do an egg sandwich,
Okay.
peanut butter and fruit. You could do an makana with some nuts in it. Nuts is
Oh,
a good source of
that's really simple
has
stuff.
protein. Simple. Then even a jam sandwich, if they're eating it, mix some blended flax seeds
Yeah.
into the jam. It just melts, like mixes in that the child doesn't taste it, and you're adding protein and fiber easily into that.
Yeah. And these are things kids love to eat in their, they love, like, a jam sandwich would be like my daughter would celebrate the day she got a jam
Yeah.
sandwich for.
So, so
Yeah,
you can
this
do,
is a great,
or
yeah, flax
even
seeds.
banana pancakes, like simple banana, egg, and oats. You
Yeah,
blend it and make pancakes.
yeah,
That's another great way of adding in protein, and you can pack it in their snack box.
yeah. So they basically, typically, most kids I know eat like a sweet breakfast in the morning. Everybody is either eating like a pancake or a banana. We do a nachni and date pancake, or like a banana and oats pancake. But we hear so much about not starting the morning with something so sweet, and so on and so forth. So is there any truth to that when it comes to kids, or it's okay if kids are starting their day with a sweet breakfast?
No, there is definitely truth to it because when we eat high sugar foods and we blood sugar rises and then it crashes quickly again, and then we crave more sweets
Yeah,
again for that quick energy fix.
right.
So, so more, I would say, avoid as much as you can the ultra processed foods like the box cereal, which are high in
Yeah.
sugar, packaged oatmeal, like the. But if you're serving like homemade pancakes and you've got a good balance of healthy fats and protein in it, that really helps.
Okay.
Because
So
some
that's
kids
fine.
cannot, yeah, like some kids will not just want happy to eat an egg and toast for breakfast,
Yeah.
for example.
Yeah.
They'd rather eat a banana oat pancake.
Yeah.
So that is still a good option, and you've mixed everything in there to stabilize their blood sugar so they're not getting those crashes.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So this
Yeah.
because most people I know have most of the kids want to eat like a pancake. Nobody's eating like a savory breakfast and forget about the poha, upma and all. So there's no question. These
Yeah.
kids are not even touching it. They're eating pancakes like either it's an egg pancake or it's a chocolate chip pancake or it's something or the other that most kids are eating. So because there's so much that we read about this, which is of course a very recent thing, that don't start your morning with a sweet thing, don't have this. And I just always wonder that does this apply to kids as well? Like, should we kind of curtail what they eat in the morning as well, like but yeah, so this is great actually.
So a few things we could do. So if you're having other tips, would be like if you're having pancakes, instead of serving it with maple syrup, you could do a nut butter spread.
Yeah.
So you're reducing the sugar. Instead of serving juice in the morning, then you serve a glass of milk or water.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like juice doesn't need to be a breakfast
Thing at
item.
all.
You'd rather
Yeah.
serve, yeah, you'd rather serve the whole fruit.
Yeah.
So I'd say reduce the sugar where you can. Even fruit yogurts, like
Yeah.
I know that's a big thing with kids,
Yeah.
but that has a lot of sugar, added sugar in it. You would rather buy the natural
Yeah.
yogurt
Yeah.
and sweeten it yourself. Put a little honey or blended fruits,
Yeah.
and it's yummy for kids, even for us.
Yeah. But I find your recipes so interesting and so much fun. I think like kids really need this kind of a little more stuff happening, like because everyone wants to see something interesting, something colorful, something yummy, including us. So um so tell me how rampant is binge eating amongst adolescents, and how can one circumvent this if they find this happening with their kids, and what are the causes that lead to something like this?
So binge eating, especially I feel in the holidays, goes up a lot because they're eating out of boredom.
Yeah.
It's for that they're out of their structured routine.
Yeah.
They don't know what to do. They're bored. Let's eat something. Let's have a snack. And they get that quick dopamine hit from it.
Yeah.
And a lot of times as parents, we want to fix that boredom for our kids. We don't want to let them sit bored. So the minute they ask for a snack, we panic and we get something. So our child can't be hungry,
Right.
anything. But it's okay to let them not be eating every 30 minutes. It's okay to feel a little hungry.
Yeah.
Because if they feel a little hungry and then they come to the next meal,
They'll eat
then they're going
better.
to eat better and they'll try new foods. But if we're constantly trying to fix that hunger every 30 minutes that they come, then we're helping supporting that situation of binge eating.
Yeah. But when does it become a problem?
I think it becomes a problem when they are eating when they've just eaten. Like they're constantly, they've just eaten a meal and they need another snack immediately.
Yeah.
When they're craving specific comfort foods and it's urgent, like I need ice cream now, I need a chocolate, I need this.
Yeah.
When their eating patterns change with their mood. A lot of times, when they don't know how to deal with stresses in life and how to cope with sadness or things that are happening with academics and friendships are changing, they use food to cope.
Yeah.
And like I said, with boredom. So when you start noticing these patterns in your child, then it's time to get support for that.
And what do you mean by support? Like a coach or therapy or
Yeah, I think you would need to get a coach or to help them learn to regulate.
yeah.
You could even, if you can teach your child this, amazing. But a lot of times it's great to get a coach who can teach them the tools they need to regulate their emotions
Yeah.
and how to deal with it so they don't just turn to food.
Yeah. Because emotional eating has become so big even with adults. And you see it more and more amongst children and especially adolescents because the kind of pressure that they're under socially to perform, it's possibly a little bit abnormal, and it's too much for, I think, kids to process, is what I feel. And I don't think we parents do much in that process either. Like, I think we're also adding to this pressure. So this emotional eating situation, I hear about it so much, of course, in slightly older kids, but it's rampant, and then there's that stigma of taking help, which is, where you feel you can do everything but actually we can't, and then it just eventually becomes something, it spirals into something which then it's gone too far, and there's no, then you have to take extreme measures to bring that child back. So I that's why I wanted to get a sense of what are those warning signs that these things are not okay. Like, it's not okay that your child is asking you for a snack after a meal. It's not okay that your child is, turning to certain kind of foods for comfort.
Yeah. Like sometimes if it's a one off thing or two,
Yeah,
but if you notice it happening
yeah,
every day and then you're noticing their mood, when their mood is low, they turn to these foods, high
yeah,
sugar, high processed foods.
yeah,
These are all signs that they're using it to regulate themselves, but it's not actually a tool. It's just like a band aid on the problem.
yeah. So when it comes to, say, planning meals, right?